considered to be safe. Now, there's the rub. 40 degrees latitude north. The idea being that, oh, okay, this is safe. That's coming out of the data, and that may be a linguistic presumption that may or may not be largely effective. In other words, the potential for the disaster is such that it could go all the way up the Mississippi and reach the Great Lakes if we were talking about airflow, because that's a predominant pattern that we would usually get with the hurricane season. Now, so far in these last 3 years, we've had that pattern not exist, and their flow has been from to the Great Lakes, and the northern growing region has been from the west coast, which has led to their horrific weather, our continuing rain and situation out here. If that stops and we get that, quote, normal pattern again, then the smell of burning asphalt, which may be the aromatic hydrocarbons that are released when they burn the oil, or burn this material that's an oil precursor, that may extend way far north, which may mean that the north of 40 is probably more of a guess than any kind of factor of surety.
Draw us 40 in our mind's eye.
Oh, I'm at 47 here in Olympia, Washington, so say, south of the Columbia River, south of Umatilla, running across, the bottom half of the country here. Actually, I can do better than that. Let me just grab this particular globe.
The Columbia River, the one that glows at night from Hanford?
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's at 45. So we're looking at 40 at the California to Oregon border, Idaho.
Really?
Border.
Right there at the Oregon-California border. All right.
Yeah,
well,
bottom part of Wyoming. We keep going across to Omaha. Chicago would be okay. Pittsburgh, those kind of areas would be in the northern regions. Now, a lot of this is going to be topographically dependent, and especially relative to what occurs, whether we have a hurricane that's allowed up or not.
All right. For those of you who are saying, what's he talking about, just simply do a search with any good search engine for HAARP and start reading, and you'll understand.
Weather War is another good Google.
The Weather War is a very good one. Rense.com, HARP. Just put it on the search engine. I've got 350,000 articles.
There you go. Why go anyplace else?
What am I doing? Okay.
Yeah, you've got it covered there. Yeah.
A minute till the break here. Let's say 40th. All right, that's California-Oregon border. You can take a map and look. The part that just is seemingly they're in a bind. If they allow the moisture to go up into the Ohio River Valley, etc., it's probably going to be contaminated, polluted, and do far more damage for far longer than if they go through a drought and they try and somehow bring in water on a supplemental basis from Canada. I don't know.
But even so, the issue for us has always been following, that when we first saw the impacts of the oil volcano, the real thing for us was not the oil coming out or the problems seen at that level, but rather the ill winds that resulted, and that these would go around the planet 9 times and eventually congregating around the equator. That sort of a scenario is still very likely, and in fact is occurring now, just extremely slow. The oil has got to go somewhere. The way in which the planet rotates, centrifugal force, etc., will tend to collect it towards the equator.
Well, most of it's underwater, too, as you know.
But I'm talking about the impact of the oil on the atmosphere.
Gotcha.
Because there's, who knows what level of evaporation. If you're talking hydrogen sulfide as a major component of the precursor stuff, it's not even really crude oil. It's some kind of really thicker material that has a lot different constituents, a lot of which are evaporating.
The components of oil is what we're seeing, the early constituents of oil. Let's also forever bury the con job of peak oil, all right?
Or fossil relation to it.
If you hear anybody say fossil fuel, gently, kindly, if they care, or if you can get to them, explain to them that it doesn't have anything to do with it.
It's abiotic, and ask them if they've got one of those flat Earth Society.
That's right. Abiotic, look that up too at Rense.com. Joe Vials, a late journalist from Australia, wrote a great article about it. ABIOTIC, abiotic oil.
Yeah, actually, we heard Obama the other day say oil was finite in his little speech, and it's like, okay, gag me. At that point, you're wandering off into the myth again.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, back in a minute. Okay, back with Clif. 2012 data gaps. What are we talking about here? Haven't we enough trouble in the next 19, 20 months?
Apparently not. Apparently we're...
What kind of a gap are you talking about, Clif?
Well, we have an absence of something in terms of something occurs and it causes the data flow for our long-term elements to start trailing off.
What does that mean? Disappearing?
Well, let me describe it. We have sort of an aquarium display in this dimensional sort of an aquarium that's all filled with different colored jellyfish or jelly beans. And as we shift that towards 2012 by running our model space a little bit more, are not showing up the way they used to. And that's sort of to be expected, but then it continues and more colors are involved until as we shift our model further towards 2012 into the long-term data, we're getting less data to look at and our granularity falls below what we consider to be reliable. So something occurs that could very well be the oil volcano and the death of 1 billion, which would be, a sizable percentage of the human population, and the disruptions caused by that series of events or number of years of events, whatever, bring the ability of our technology not to a screeching halt, but more to a sort of a gradual wind down over a short period of months in early 2012. The data gap becomes total in about fall of 2012, and then we see a little bit more in the way of data coming back in the very far edge of our long-term data, 2013 and 14, with sort of a pickup into 2017. We've made some monkey mind speculation about this and said that, well, that X and Y and Z occurred and it would fit this particular kind of a pattern that we're seeing in the data now. But to be honest, we're just guessing about that because we've only been doing this effectively since 97. So our history, even though it extends back 13 years, has never encountered anything like what we're looking at in terms of the data. But it is atypical in our system. And the curious part about the data gap itself is that the gap moves forward with the data type. So in other words, in 2003 it was 7 years away in the data, and now in 2010 it's only 2 years away in the data, so we're actually approaching some point of an event horizon or whatever, however we want to think about it.
How long does the gap exist? How far out can you project it?
It really affects us from March 2012 and goes all the way out to May of 2013. That's a period where it's sort of like too few.
So something really bad happens. It looks like, if you're not getting normal feedback and normal data to that extent that you've never seen before,
then we're postulating that it's not a good sign, correct?
Well,
we'd be screwed is not on the data, not on a data sign right there, but we could probably paint it.
It's just a 15-month party. One of those parties. That's wow. All right.
Well, it's it has tendency to clarify your focus and so a lot of the things that I used to care about I just don't anymore, and it's like, okay, I'm just not going to do that. Time is too short. I've got to maximize every single minute because of things that are underway right now.
Going to get your boat finished?
Well, we're doing we're all kinds of stuff going on with boats. I'm going to take my Umiak here and we're making it into a video audio platform, and George and I are going to go on out and have some big BS sessions on the water and put them on YouTube and see if people like to listen to them.
Good. Well, don't forget your extra case of duct tape in case of leaking.
Considering that it's a cloth boat, yes, indeed, that's and it's dry on the inside to a certain extent. Yeah, that sort of works. Yeah.
George, we've got to extricate him from his current digs, don't we?
He's actually in the process of doing that. He's coming up to the Northwest here for some family time this summer.
Good.
And then he and Elaine are thinking that they want to relocate out of his, survival ranch deluxe out of Texas and come back up here to the rainy Northwest.
Nothing wrong with rain. I enjoy every drop of it.
Yeah, it was really something. This
I didn't dislike it. I'm sorry to say a bit, and I'll take that over 110 degree, 105.
Oh, any day. Yes. I mean, it's 4 days into the summer in the heat, and it's already. How long have we been annoyed by this? Yeah.
You got it. Okay. We have 2012. The government, of course, the bad guys, the alleged government, the powers that reside in the city of London and all of their minions and their tentacles, which go everywhere on the planet practically, can play this 2012 card as viciously and wickedly as they want. We know they control the weather. We know they control the currencies. We know they control the population. I guess the question would be, what the hell don't they control?
They don't control circumstance. That's where we have
random circumstance.
No, because the universe is not random, and that's the whole point. And
well, you ask a teenager, and they describe it as random. Hey, that's random, man. You're quite right, and I'm wondering what they're going to try to do to control and get in and manipulate the mass collective subconscious. And you know damn well they'll try anything.
They're doing it all now, and that's their real problem. And that's actually, if you will, the opening that allows us to see what's going on. They're trying at their maximal output right at this point to keep things going. And it's failing.
Interesting. Well, they took those Princeton results and ran with them, folks. Don't think for a minute they didn't. This goes way
but there's some things that they don't know about either, and here's their issue. Look at it as a diametric or duality in opposition. We presented way back when we thought that things were still legit before we'd become educated. We presented the idea of our technology to the CIA in this fervor of patriotism, thinking the CIA were good guys. I acknowledge that there's good individuals within that organization, but the organization is by its very nature corrupt and evil. Any intelligence organization, I'm not singling them out. However, the point being that the CIA at all of these people care about what individuals think and do, and they try and track what individuals think and do. I don't care about that. Who says what to whom is immaterial to me. What is interesting is the mass the social change that is given out in these little hints and stuff, and it's actually different expressions of duality. They are drowning in minutia. They don't know how to handle it. They have no concept of the big picture. They don't know how developing circumstances are actually playing out. And what they're missing is, in fact, the clues that will lead, or not the clues, but the